Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Ms. Milburn, according to your complaint, a little over 2.5 years ago, you rented an apartment. The defendant is a licensed real estate broker. I don't know how much the rent was. $1,400?
It was $1,400.
$1,400 a month, and
right.
You signed the lease.
Correct.
At one point, you gave him a check for $1,400, and subsequently, you went in and signed the lease and gave him how much?
We signed the lease. We met him at the apartment. I gave him initially a check to hold it for $1,400, which represented a deposit.
Fine.
I had called him and asked him if I could move in early because my daughter had had a baby on May 5th.
Go ahead.
And I asked him if I could move little by little in before the end of June, but the rent started on June 1st.
So you were trying to get some extra time in the apartment without paying for it?
Well, I guess you could look at it that way,
well, exactly,
but he actually suggested it.
That's exactly the way you look at it. If you want to move your things in before you actually move in and not pay rent, then he's giving you something for nothing.
Well, we lived far away. We lived about 100 miles from there, so...
All right,
okay.
Let's go. You gave him a check, $1,400, to hold the apartment.
Right.
And I assume you paid a month's security.
Correct. I had given...
Good. That would be $2,800, because this is your lawsuit. Your lawsuit says that you paid him the first month's rent and a month's security, and he was supposed to have destroyed this $1,400 check.
Correct.
Which he didn't do.
Correct.
And somehow it ended up in his folder. 2.5 years later, he found it. He cashed the check because he says you hadn't paid him for the first month's rent.
I would think you would notice that before 2.5 years. But...
Just a second. You said you hadn't paid him the first month's rent and security. You only gave him security deposit, which was $1,400. Is that right, sir?
That's correct. Yes,
okay.
That's what she gave
so
me.
This is a very simple case, Miss Milburn. All I want you to do is show me, on or about June 1st, either a canceled check or a receipt for $2,800.
Well, I don't have that.
Well, what do you have?
Let me tell you what happened. There were 2 different payments made, and that's what I'm trying to explain.
I understand that. You gave him a $1,400 check to hold the apartment.
Correct. And he said I could not move anything in unless he had cash to cover that check, because otherwise it would take 10 days, he said, for that check to clear. So I met him at the place when he gave me the key, and I brought him $1,400 cash. And on June 1st, I gave him a check for the rent.
Show me the receipt for $1,400
Your Honor,
cash.
it was almost 3 years ago. I don't keep... I saw the file...
Did she give you $1,400 in cash?
No, I got 2 checks. One of them I didn't deposit. I'd stuck it in another file. The second check was for the first month's rent, which I got on the 3rd of June.
Show me a bank ledger where you took out $1,400 in cash, Miss Milburn.
I don't have that.
You don't have that. You want to know why you don't have that? You don't have that because it's not true.
But it's true. Why would he wait 3 years? He has a fiduciary responsibility as a broker to reconcile his trust account every single month. If he were short $1,400, surely he would know about it prior to 3 years later.
Miss Milburn, you lived there for how long? A year?
I lived there for about 6 months. And
fine. Just show me 6 months worth of checks for $1,400.
I don't have that.
And $1,400 in security deposit. That's all you have to show me. And then we're finished. Then I say to him, you owe her everything that she says that you owe her, including the aggravation for depositing this old check. Otherwise, you're trying to scam me.
No, I'm
and
not.
him.
He's trying to scam me.
Do you have 6 checks?
No, I do not.
For $1,400.
His bank and my bank, they were going to reverse this check. But unfortunately, I found it about 3 days after the check cleared. Otherwise, this wouldn't even be an issue. Because neither bank honors checks past a year old. It was a mistake. It was a mistake from the beginning.
Listen to me. Then sue your bank.
I understand.
You're not suing him here because initially I looked at this and I said, you know what? When you say you have a receipt for $2,800 and then there's another $1,400 payment, I said, no, you found this old check, you should have destroyed it. But then you tell me you only have a receipt for $1,400, which is a month's rent.
I had a receipt for the other 14, Your Honor, but 3 years passed by. I threw the file away. No prudent person keeps a file for 3 years after they move out.
Then get bank records.
It's not a scam. He's the one scamming everyone. And as a result, I lost a lot of money. And he knows it, and I know it.
Well,
nobody waits 3 years to cash a check. Nobody.
All you have to do is show me, madam, that you paid your rent. You don't save the checks? Fine. Go to the bank. Bank save statements for 3 years. Show me that you paid everything that you were supposed to pay. And if you had that, it would be very easy.
Well,
it would be very easy. All I would do is say to him, you owe her the money plus damages. But you don't have that.
Okay.
Do you have a receipt for $1,400? Do you have a receipt?
I had a receipt.
Just answer my question.
No,
Do you have
a
receipt?
I don't because it's so old. The bank didn't have
The
it.
case is
I didn't
dismissed.
get it.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cavender Chalice versus Fitzgerald. Step forward.
Robert Cavender and his mother, Summer Chalice, are suing Robert's neighbor, Amanda Fitzgerald, for damage to his 71 Chevelle, allegedly caused by her 10-year-old son, Michael.
Young man, come up here. There you go. Come around here. Have a seat.
Tell me your name.
Michael Fitzgerald,
How old are you, Michael?
10.
I have one grandchild who's 10. She's not afraid of me. You're not afraid of me, are you, Michael? Just a little
ma'am.
bit? Not even a little bit? Good for you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you get frightened?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell your mom when you came home?
Yes.
And later today,
So you went out there for a weekend, and she showed you off to her friends that she worked for.
Bottom line, I was paid to be a boy toy.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Robert Cavender and his mother, Summer Chalice, are suing Robert's neighbor, Amanda Fitzgerald, for damage to his 71 Chevelle, allegedly caused by her 10-year-old son, Michael.
Okay, Michael. Now, you were over visiting the plaintiff's house. Is this your car?
It's my mother's.
My car. And who are you playing with at their house?
CJ,
And how old is he?
I do not know.
How old is he?
12.
So he's a little bit older than you are?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you playing with him?
In his bedroom.
So you were in the house. What happened?
I left my bike outside and it was about to fall down the hill, so I went out to get it and put it up on its stand.
And what happened when you went outside?
I put it on its stand and picked up a rock.
And what'd you do with the rock when you picked it up?
I threw it on the ground.
When you threw it on the ground, did it ricochet and hit the car?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't mean to damage the car, right?
No, ma'am.
Did you see any mark on the car?
No, ma'am.
And what did you do after you heard the rock hit the car?
I started to go home.
Did you get frightened?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell your mom when you came home?
Yes.
What did you tell her?
I told her that I picked up a rock and threw it on the ground, and it bounced off the ground and hit the car.
Okay, Michael, go sit down over there. Thank you. So that's your case. You say that this young man damaged this very expensive antique car, and you want a whole bunch of money to fix it. Let me see the damage to the car.
I have the pictures from when we first got it, when it was restored, and the damage caused to the vehicle.
Okay. You mean this little nick right over here?
Yes, it chipped the paint in the right fender.
So what are you going to do to it?
It needs to be repainted because I show it at car shows. If it has an imperfection or touch-up paint, it counts as a flaw, and you don't earn as many points, and you can't win trophies or prizes or anything.
Where was this car?
It was parked in front of my house because she just pulled it out of the storage to bring it over so I could do some more work to it.
Well, Mrs. Fitzgerald has certain responsibility because her son caused a nick to your car. Didn't mean it, and he's a lovely little boy, and he was honest because having looked at it, I see that it's very possible that it happened this way rather than somebody throwing a rock on the car. In any event, it's a ding on the car. So what kind of responsibility does somebody have when they have an old car that they restored, that they like to show? They have a responsibility not to leave it in the front of the house where kids are playing, where cars are driving by and pebbles can get flown up by the car wheels. You have a responsibility, too. You're supposed to keep it safe.
Yes, we do.
You know, well, you didn't, because if it was safe, he wouldn't have done it. Now, let me see your estimate.
And I also have a statement from another body shop because most body shops will not car.
Well, you see if you can have this car fixed for $300 because that's what Miss Fitzgerald is going to give you. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Honky versus Isbell. Step forward, please.
Carolyn Honke is suing former friend Stephen Isbell for loans to get back on his feet after Hurricane Katrina. Stephen claims the money was payment for being Carolyn's boy toy.